Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to an all-new episode of Superfriends. This one is episode 114. I'm Tim, I'll be hosting this week, and joining me as usual is Luke.
Hey guys, what's going on?
We have a pseudo-debate topic for this week.
Okay.
Some sort of a big controversy that has started up just this week with the Oscar announcements. As a lot of people know, there has been a comic book film that has been nominated for a major category that isn't for, like, technical awards. And that's Logan for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
But that mixed in with the fact that another movie that came out this same year received no nominations for any category. There has been much stink over the fact that Wonder Woman, which is widely regarded as the best of the DCEU films, has received no Oscar nominations.
Oh my god.
So, a lot of people arguing that it's been a big cultural touchstone, that it means a lot to people, both for having a strong female lead, showing a lot of hope, stuff like that. A bunch of other things that really don't apply to the film, but those things I just said do. So what do you think? Do you think that there's anything behind this, that Wonder Woman should have been in any of these categories, even for adapted screenplay?
Okay. I think there's a few things to take into consideration with this. Number one, I don't think a film being nominated or winning any sort of award really has a bearing on the quality of that film.
I feel the same way with that.
Right. Like, again, I'm not even really a huge fan of Academy Award stuff because I am fully of the idea that they are a waste of time. But
it's basically just a big old Hollywood circle jerk.
Yes, essentially. Bunch of rich people clapping other rich people on the back saying, you did a good job.
And then going up on stage and talking about how much better people they are than you.
Yes. Number two, you liking a movie or it striking a personal chord with you, I think is great. I am super happy about that. I am super glad that Wonder Woman meant a big deal to you. That being said, you are not on the nomination committee. There are other people who felt differently, and it just so happens that those people did not feel like Wonder Woman hit those same marks for them or for, the world at large. Does that mean it's true? No. Does that mean it's any less of a film? No, but that's just the way that the nomination committee kind of felt. I also think Logan is in a different spot because Wonder Woman is definitely like a part of a huge marketed franchise thing. It's continuing like this media conglomerate franchise, or it was trying to continue it before it got stomped by Justice League. Logan was mostly like a standalone thing. Like, it was connected to the other X-Men films tangentially, but for the most part, it was sort of its own movie doing its own thing with an adapted character.
Right.
That being said, I'm just going to say I like Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman's a good movie. Again, it doesn't really matter if I think it deserved an award or anything, or if I think it got snubbed, but I will go ahead and say that I would not have... If I was on the committee, I would not have really nominated it for anything, because I don't think it really does... I don't think it really stands out super in a lot of categories. Like, again, it's a good movie, but... Like, I don't know, touching a lot of people's hearts, I don't think brings home like the gold trophy at the end of the day as much as I'm sure people would like it to. But
yeah,
again, those are just kind of my thoughts on it.
Honestly, the thing with the Oscars is that they did this a lot, like, in the past, especially as of like 2008 onward, when they changed the rules to have 10 in the category instead of 5 like they originally had. That was mostly done because people wanted them to nominate films, like a bunch of films that had like a bunch of buzz behind them, that had a lot of people like really feeling for them. So, and they felt that those films got snubbed with the 5 awards, so they raised it to 10 so they could nominate those things and like 2 other things that stood out at the beginning of the year that wouldn't have been nominated otherwise.
Okay, yeah.
But the thing with that is, they've been trying to lean away from that. Like, there's always going to be some politics with the Oscars. Like, there's always going to be one type of film that hits each mark so that any individual group will be happy it got nominated, whether the committee feels that it should win or not.
Okay, yeah.
Like that's going to happen every single year, no matter how well known the movie is, or like whether the relative quality of the film compared to the others. It's just gonna happen. That's just how the Oscars work.
Yeah. Like,
but
again, it just...
Yeah, so
keep going.
Do your thing. I'll go back.
Well, I was
afterwards.
just gonna say, just like a re-emphasis again, like a movie getting like a hunk of metal does not really connotate it being above anything else. It's just what a committee of people consider to be the best out of their little social party.
Yep. The Oscars, in and of themselves, they don't mean that much. Like, inside of Hollywood, for like the few years after you win it, or if you stay relevant for long enough, it'll help you get higher, like a higher salary per film because you seem more in demand. But other than that, it doesn't actually mean anything.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, they're good for your resume if you're like a director or an actor or something. They're good for resumes, but
yeah,
they don't mean much, I think, to the public at large.
But for Wonder Woman, not only did it not really hit anything, but it has a lot of things that the Academy doesn't like in it. It has a really sloppy third act.
All right, yeah.
It has some technical issues in it, and it's just not one of the things that the Academy Award would nominate. Like with The Dark Knight didn't get nominated, but that was one of the reasons why they switched it to 10 because people wanted it to.
Right.
But like Logan getting nominated, it makes sense because they can technically write it off as being a Western or being a sort of the road style movie. So
yeah,
that's something that the Academy can get behind. Wonder Woman, despite what a lot of people feel towards it, is still a fairly run-of-the-mill superhero film, which the Academy will never nominate no matter how many people like it. Like, Avengers touched way more people than Wonder Woman and made way more money than it, and it was nowhere close to being nominated, nor did people get this upset by it not being nominated.
Yeah. I mean, there's another angle that I could probably tackle with why some people are upset. I'm not going to. I'm just going to poke at it lightly, but I just feel like if you like it a lot and it's like a movie that I think like you appreciate for being out there, I feel like that should be enough.
Yeah.
So that's all I really have to say.
You don't need validation for things that you like.
Exactly. I being on the same channel with Nick, there's a lot of things that I like that he does not like at all, and that doesn't really invalidate what my appreciation for it.
Yeah. Yeah. That happens with a bunch of people in different, like both our channel and in different circles. Like, you're always gonna find people who disagree with you on something, and that's fine. I'm kind of with you where I wouldn't have nominated Wonder Woman for anything either. I don't think it does that much differently from other films.
Right.
Like, one of the big things with it is that it has a female lead. It's very empowering in that way, and I understand that part of it. But in terms of being a movie in and of itself, I don't really think it's Oscar caliber, even if I don't care that much about the Oscars.
Like, yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, it's a very... I feel like people are going to get upset, but whatever, I'm sure they already are. It's very by the books, I think, in terms of comic book adaptations of these characters.
Right.
I just feel like it's very apparent that it is a comic book movie, whereas something like Logan is not. It doesn't immediately jump out at you outside of the fact that you know this guy from the X-Men movies. But outside of that, it is kind of in its own circle, whereas Wonder Woman is in the same circle as all the Marvel movies and the other, well, maybe not the previous DCU movies, but the better comic book adaptations. I'll just say that.
Right. But for what it's worth to everyone, it's still both of our favorite DCEU films so far.
Yes.
Yep.
Take that for what you will.